Zombie apocalypse.
Greetings world. We are Anonymous. We would like to introduce our first weekly Top 10 countdown starting with Anonymous Top 10 Accomplishments. Originating in 2003, what began as a relatively small vigilante cyber group has expanded and transformed into a continuation of the civil rights movement. Today, thanks to our current technology, the civil rights movement has spread to the internet and across the globe. As well as addressing long-standing issues, the challenges faced have now grown to encompass the people of all nations. Here is our Top 10 list of Anonymous accomplishments. Number 10, the Hal Turner Raid. Beginning in late 2006, Anonymous focused on American white nationalist and Holocaust rejecter, Hal Turner. Between December 2006 and January 2007, individuals associating themselves with the Anonymous movement took Turner's website offline, costing him thousands of dollars in bandwidth bills. Turner later tried to sue various websites, including 4chan, Ibom's World, and 7chan, however his plea for an injunction fell upon unsympathetic ears. After failing to receive letters from the court, Turner's lawsuit lapsed. As well as shutting Turner's website down, Anonymous was able to gain access to his private servers where it was found he was an informant for the FBI. Turner lost all credibility within the white nationalist movement once he was exposed, and he has since been convicted of threatening to kill Chicago judges.
Welcome to the Hal Turner Show.
They went after a guy named Hal Turner.
I am being discriminated against because I'm white.
Hal Turner was a neo-Nazi who was, big online and had a podcast.
I think that the 14th Amendment was not ratified properly, and I think, therefore, it is still okay to have Negroes as slaves in America.
The first time I heard about Hal Turner is he was knocking somebody on 4chan. He was just being a major dick to a relatively known user. And for the fun of it, we started trolling him. And then I guess we kind of figured we had a moral high ground, which allowed us to get people on our side. But he was a fucking neo-Nazi. That's not okay to be in modern society. You're not allowed to do that. And there's a million neo-Nazis out there. But he started picking on our dudes, so we had to go to our dude's fucking defense. And it just so happened that he was a neo-Nazi, so that's a bigger reason that he's a fucking dickface.
I'm like, yeah, screw that racist son of a bitch. Let's do this, So I joined in, and I made some of the phone calls, and, I played around on the chat thing on his website and posted in the threads and whatnot.
Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hola, this is Pedro.
Spick,
Diego.
don't call my radio show anymore, you filthy spick animal.
The college that I
You're
go
on the Hal Turner
to
show.
has begun an integration program where they try and purposely lower standards to bring more blacks and quote-unquote diversify the campus. And by the end of the next 5 years, they intend to bring over 9,000.
He was just a horribly racist radio personality who seemed to handle it well when you called in. Like, he could handle being berated by Anonymous. And that made it very interesting. It made it a bit of a challenge. It wasn't some guy who just either crumbled or stopped answering the phone. It was a guy who would yell back.
Number 9, the Chris Forkand arrest. In December of 2007, 53-year-old internet predator, Chris Forkand, was arrested and charged with luring 2 children under the age of 14 into sexual acts. Forkand was caught by individuals associated with Anonymous who were posing as children in an effort to collect evidence against child molesters. After being propositioned by Forkand with revealing photos, the individuals contacted authorities. This was the first time an internet predator was arrested by the police as a result of internet vigilantism.
Investment consultant Chris Forkand lives in this North Toronto apartment building, its appearance nondescript. But Forkand's reputation on the internet is anything but. It's notorious, that of a suspected pedophile who shows nude pictures of himself to kids. These allegations have not been proven in court. But this 53-year-old is now behind bars after police say he tried to lure a young girl.
This particular individual, it's alleged that he traveled across the city to meet what he thought to be a 13-year-old for sexual purpose.
Forkand was arrested here at his apartment building earlier this week, but the police investigation began a month ago. where detectives were contacted by a large group of people who were part of an internet campaign to try to expose Forcan's alleged behavior. There are numerous pictures of Forcan online, including a disturbing photo of him sitting naked on a bed. A self-described internet teen vigilante group called Anonymous says he propositioned some members and showed them disgusting photos of himself, even when they asked him not to. The teens called Toronto police, who set up their own sting on Forcan. That's how he was arrested. Members were thrilled.
Fantastic, because honestly, what he was doing and what we found was disgusting.
This is the first time police have arrested a suspected pedophile that's resulted from internet vigilantism. Police do not encourage it, but the teens claim their efforts were successful.
He's actually having to pay for what he could have done to somebody.
Forcan's bail hearing is on Monday. Gus Kim, Global News.
Number 8, Project Chanology. The 2008 protests against Scientology, known as Project Chanology, gave the newly formulating anonymous movement worldwide recognition. The situation began when a church-produced interview with Tom Cruise was leaked to YouTube. The church tried issuing a copyright violation claim against YouTube, and their attempts to censor the internet incited a swift response. In January of 2008, Anonymous released its message to Scientology.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are Anonymous. Over the years, we have been watching you, your campaigns of misinformation, your suppression of dissent, your litigious nature. All of these things have caught our eye. With the leakage of your latest propaganda video into mainstream circulation, the extent of your malign influence over those who have come to trust you as leaders has been made clear to us. Anonymous has therefore decided that your organization should be destroyed.
Protests around the world soon followed, and due to its association with a stick figure known as Epic Fail Guy, which was commonly used as an identifier among 4chan members, the Guy Fawkes mask made its first debut in the anonymous movement. Guy Fawkes, as many know, failed at his endeavors. The mask was originally intended to brand Scientology a failure as well, however almost immediately, the mask became associated instead with the character V from the movie, V for Vendetta. The Church of Scientology has since been in the spotlight for its cult-like practices, which allegedly includes imprisoning and financially exploiting its members. Number 7, the Iranian election protests. In 2009, allegations arose of vote rigging after the Iranian presidential election. Thousands of Iranians took to the streets in what has been described as the biggest anti-government protests since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Anonymous, in collaboration with the Pirate Bay and various Iranian hackers, launched a support site called Anonymous Iran. The site currently has a little over 86,000 members, and allows for information exchange between Iran and the world. Number 6, Operation Darknet. Operation Darknet targeted child pornography sites, beginning with the hack of a prominent site called Lolita City. Beginning in October of 2011, anonymous hackers began the operation by removing links to pornographic images and videos on Hidden Wiki, which was located on Tor's Hidden Service Protocol. After a series of DDoS attacks, 1,589 names of Lolita City users were eventually released to the public, including their username, volume of images uploaded, and age of account. Interpol and the Federal Bureau of Investigation were invited to investigate further records and conduct follow-ups.
Abominations of the world. We, Anonymous, have an eternal duty to fight against the social injustices of this world. When we came into this virtual realm, we were disgusted with the content that was provisioned and readily available for the perverted masses. Many of us had lingering traumatic images of the material that these pedophiles were hiding on the darknet. Anonymous took a pledge to defend the defenseless and fight for the fallen.
Number 5, Operation Russia. In 2012, anonymous hackers successfully infiltrated emails belonging to prominent pro-Kremlin activists and officials. Among those hacked were the head of the Federal Agency for Youth Affairs, Vasily Yakimenko, Kristina Potupchik, the press secretary for the Nashi Youth Movement, and the deputy head of the Department for Internal Affairs at the Presidential Administration, Oleg Korok-Hordin. The information within the emails provided evidence which enabled many to accuse Yakimenko and his colleagues of paying bloggers to publish stories and commentary in favor of Vladimir Putin on negative press reports published on the Internet.
В коррупции и лжи государственные чиновники России. Мы, Аноним.
Number 4, the Judge Rotenberg Center. Those with the anonymous movement focused on the Judge Rotenberg Center for Children and Young Adults with Special Needs in March of 2012 after reports surfaced of abuse and torture. Hundreds seeking medical attention at this facility were subjected to cruel and inhumane forms of punishment, including painful electric shock treatments, prolonged restraints, and food denial. 5 more patients died there. Anonymous announced in a YouTube video that the center and those affiliated were all targets. After hacking the website, names and addresses of the center's sponsors, lobbyists, lawyers and supporters, as well as the founder, were all publicly posted on Pastebin.
Sometimes even when they do.
To the director and staff of the Judge Rodenberg Center, we are anonymous. Your mistreatment of disabled children and young adults has been brought to our attention. Your extensive use of aversive methods, including electric shock and withholding of food, as a form of behavioral modification is nothing less than torture. We are aware that your so-called treatments include attaching electrodes to students and administering a shock that is up to 20 times more powerful than that delivered by a police taser. We have seen the effects of it in mainstream media broadcasts and heard the statements of opposition by family and friends. The founder, Dr. Matthew Israel, was indicted on counts of obstructing justice by ordering the destruction of video evidence that detailed an event involving a student being shocked over 100 times. This is not the first action taken against the Center for Abuses. However, electric shock is still used as a part of the center's aversive program. In response to your torture of these individuals, we have initiated an operation against your center. We are calling upon all concerned citizens to spread the message of opposition through social networks, emails, and phone communications. Contact your local representatives and the Judge Rodenberg Center directly and voice your concern.
Number 3. The Steubenville Rape Case. On the night of August 11, 2012, an intoxicated high school girl was sexually assaulted in public by her peers, several of which documented the act and posted it online. Many adults within the school tried to cover the incident and were later indicted for obstructing and hindering the investigation. Anonymous released an incriminating video on January 1 of 2013 that showed the self-proclaimed rape crew the night of the attack, all of which appeared to find the incident amusing. One of the football program boosters who allegedly tried to help cover the case was targeted by anonymous hackers as well, and a number of emails and photos were released to the public.
Greetings, citizens of the world. We are anonymous. We are NightSec. Around mid-August 2012, a party took place in a small town in Ohio known as Steubenville. At this party are a list of men named in the preliminary docs below who took part in the kidnapping and rape of a 15-year-old girl. This video is to document the proof for the masses.
Number 2. Operation Charlie Hebdo. On the morning of January 7, 2015, 2 armed gunmen stormed the offices of the Paris-based satirical newspaper, Charlie Hebdo, killing 11 people, and injuring 11 others. The gunmen have identified themselves as Islamist terrorists belonging to a Yemen-based branch of Al-Qaeda. Additional attacks followed the Charlie Hebdo shooting, claiming another 5 lives, and injuring another 11. Anonymous has since offered condolences to family members of the victims, and has declared war on Islamic extremists. The attack has been condemned by Anonymous as an assault on freedom of expression, and jihadist websites and social media accounts that support Islamic terrorism have been targeted with the aim of disrupting and shutting them down. Number 1. Operation ISIS. Anonymous began an attack on February 9, 2015 against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant's social media accounts, as well as internet-based recruitment drives. As a result, those in the movement have successfully destroyed months of recruiting work. By February 10, at least 800 ISIS-affiliated Twitter accounts were closed, and within the first 3 days of the operation, 1,000 ISIS websites were shut down.
To the citizens of the world, we are anonymous. The events currently transpiring in Iraq have made us as a collective re-evaluate our priorities in regards to recent operations. The Iraqi people have gone through almost 2 weeks of sheer terror most of us will never know nor experience. We are held by a code of honor to protect those who are defenseless.
This concludes our countdown of anonymous top 10 accomplishments. Join us again next week for another countdown. We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.